Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is September the 4th on a Sunday, and this is the latest edition of what's going on in Corpus Christi. It's predominantly Taxpayers Association. I am Jerry Sansing, the president of the Taxpayers Association. There are the airtimes at the bottom, and then there's my email address. I get a lot of emails inquiring about different subjects that I have talked about on the air, so please feel free to call me or email me at any time with your comments. Sometimes they're a little salty, which I don't mind. I can take it. I'm a big boy, and I try to be an adult about things, but I'd like to tell the truth too, because I am a taxpayer and I am a free American, and I have First Amendment rights, much to the dismay of the city and Del Mar College County and the state and so forth. But anyway, we'll have a good time with this one, and I'll be right back with you in just 1 second. Just need to put this up for just about 10-15 seconds. That's the latest in my international no signs, and I'm going to talk about the Del Mar College bonds for the Southside campus, which a lot of the taxpayers around here I know are not agreeing with, and then people that are not Taxpayers Association have voiced their opinion when they see this logo on t-shirts around. And that's the president of the Board of Regents, Mr. Trey McCampbell. That's the look on his face when the international no went over Destination Bayfront. And I was proud to put those signs up and say thank you to the 65% of you people out there, voters, that voted that boondoggle down, that $44 million bond. So maybe we can do the same front page of the Caller Times when you people can vote this crazy thing down. Anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've got the camera rolling and the lights are on. I'm going to take my seat. This is a new edition of what's going on in Corpus Christi, Texas. My name is Gerald Sansing. I go by Jerry, and I am the president of the Taxpayers Association, Corpus Christi. And this is a program that's dedicated to that group. And we had a meeting yesterday. Today is September the 4th, which is a Sunday. This is the Labor Day weekend. Tomorrow's Labor Day. Everybody, I hope, has a good time and can relax and enjoy the day off if you're able. If you've got to work, then I feel sorry for you, but that's the way of the world these days. You got to keep working. Now, at yesterday's meeting, we discussed a lot of things. We approved the minutes and so forth and so on, Treasurer's report. And some of the topics that we discussed were the letter of support by us for the bacteria reduction implement plan for Coles and Ropes Park. I'm on that CARP committee as one of the homeowners members, that group, and we support that. And we need the city to get off their rumps down there and figure out where the bacteria are coming from, or what they can do. You can speciate those, and then you can go ahead genetically and test and find out the source of those fecal bacteria. Okay. Now they use Enterococcus instead of the Escherichia coli, which is okay. But there are some labs. There's one in Florida that's real reasonable to do this. We can take a sample of the organisms that are in the bay and have several of those sent to that lab, and then they can tell you whether that's a cat fecal material, dog, possum, aardvark, elephant, human, or whatever. And we need to know, folks, because I think what's happening, and this is my personal view as a microbiologist, is that we've had a bunch of these old clay sewer pipes in these neighborhoods. These are older neighborhoods, and they leak into the stormwater system after they crushed and so forth. They're in the same hole a lot of times with what takes out the water into the bay with stormwater overflows. And I think what's happened is we have that cross-contamination. I don't think it's like the city keeps preaching. It's dogs and cats and, fecal material in your yard, and you won't pick up your dog poop when they're out and about in the neighborhood. And I see most of the people that walk dogs around my neighborhood have the plastic bags, and they'll pick up the dog manure and take it on with them. So, the city's very reluctant to do this because it could be millions and millions of dollars in addition to these poor streets that our city council members and elected officials have let go by the way. It's a tragedy the last 30 years. of neglect of this whole infrastructure and so forth. And now we've got to pay the piper. So we talked about that, and I told them how that could be done very cheaply. The city's not going to do it. And then we talked about the water boils in addition to water and what we're going to do with the water bills. I noticed that Mayor Martinez is preaching we did the right thing with the Mary Rose pipeline and all that good stuff. And we've got plenty of water. We just don't know how in the hell to take care of it. Okay, so that we don't have boil advisories and have a bunch of people downtown that can't figure out how to keep the water safe for us. And I think some heads should roll down there. Again, my PhD is in biochemistry and microbiology, so I know all about how to get rid of potentially hazardous organisms in drinking water. It's not a big deal, folks. It's not that big a trick. But we can't seem to get it right since we've had 3 boils here lately. And then the new Bayfront Park, I mentioned to them that I was one of the 5 Friends of the Coliseum, and that the 13th Court of Appeals had said that the city shouldn't be suing us. They told Carlos Valdez that when he was our esteemed city attorney after he stepped down from the district attorney spot. But the 13th Court of Appeals said that, hey, read your contract, city. These people should not be sued for that. You're all wet. And then someone at the meeting said that they thought they heard just recently that Mr. Risley down here with the city is going to open up that can of worms on himself again and try to prosecute the 5 of us for the $65,000 plus that Carlos Valdez said that we owed them. And then it was Carlos Valdez in court during the initial hearings of suing us, said that he was going to frighten. He's going to sue us because he doesn't want any citizens down here questioning what the city does with any of the contracts. So I don't know who he thought paid his salary and so forth and down there, but you know, I'm not afraid of you, Mr. Valdez. You can come after me anytime you want if you want to get smacked right square in the forehead. I'm not the least bit afraid of you or anybody else down there at that city. I'm just going to throw it out there. And then Carlos wanted to run for 13th Court of Appeals after he totally ignored what they said. And you don't need a fool like that on there, okay? You really don't. So, bon voyage there, Mr. Carlos Valdez. And see if you can go run for some other political office with all your cronies and your buddies down there. And we had another discussion of the non-compliance of the Americans with Disabilities Act over there at the Gulfway Shopping Center. That one still ain't over. I'm hustling up some veterans groups that are also interested in disabled veterans and so forth and so on to go ahead and see if we can't get the city to do the right thing over there. Mr. Gordy's backing that in a massive way too. We talked a little bit about the bad debt write-offs at Del Mar College in the past and why Del Mar College couldn't get any raises over there for people with $5 to $10 million, $12 million surpluses every year for a long time. And now the administration did give us almost 6% raise after, 7-8 years of nothing. And then we're still low. Our starting salary for a master's degreed instructor at Del Mar College is still several $1,000s less than a person with a teaching degree, bachelor's degree, going into one of the school districts around here, CCISD. And that's a crime, folks. It really is. That's despicable. And then enrollment. I did mention that Del Mar College had computers down during the enrollment on the 23rd and 24th, and then that Saturday, I think, was the 27th, and computers went down. Data failed. People in lines for hours trying to register, so go Del Mar College one more time. It happens about every time we have registration, and I would think that the administration could figure out how to solve that problem. But, and then I've heard that we had a slight increase in the number of students this time. And that makes sense to me because today on the 4th it came out, the city jobless rate hit 7-year high, and I think they said it was 6.2%. It used to be bumping under 5. It was about 4% for a long time. And it hadn't been this high or approaching this since May 2009. Okay? So when the jobless rates go up, people are out without a job, they tend to go back to school, which is a good thing for Del Mar. But if we go from the 10,800 students this past go around up to the one they're preaching now is about 12,000 folks, I still can't see how we can justify a $400 million total Southside campus, and then that means the city's not growing either. And then we've got problems out there with that annexed land. That's a big brouhaha now with Chad McGill, being complained about. But now we can't afford to put the sewer lines and water lines out there to that 16 square miles of farmland. So I don't know what we're going to do. Okay, it's a real pain in the neck. And then if the infrastructure and so forth does catch up with us, then we're looking at several $billion to get out of this hole. And I don't see any of the current people in city council pulling that off. So go vote the bums out, as they say. Okay, so just go make a statement down there. Get rid of some of these people that are just kicking the can down the street, doing absolutely nothing for you on a daily basis, except anyway. All right, so we've got the Southside campus, which the Taxpayers Association is totally and completely against. There are elections for the Del Mar College Board of Regents members. Some of them, I think there are 3 of them up. So take a look, see who the incumbent is, and vote the bums out. I can't support anyone as a Taxpayer Association president because we are nonprofit. I'd love to tell you who I think would do a good job, but I can't do that on the air. So just if you're watching this on Wednesday evening at 8:30, then wait until 9 o'clock. South Texas News and Reviews comes on, which is a show I've done for years and years, and I can talk about who I think would be a good candidate and so forth on that one. It's just I'm very reluctant to say anything here. I can voice my objection to a bond issue, okay, as long as I'm not a proponent for a certain person for elected official. And then I'm sure that somebody's going to find some hole in that one and come after me, but that's all right. Bring it on. I don't care. All right? And then we still got problems with Public Information Act requests that are being ignored. All right, then last show I showed a tractor that's going to be used to cut the grass on that 96-acre proposed Southside Del Mar College campus at Rodfield in Yorktown. I understand it costs about $84,000 for the tractor and the trailer that it's on. It's been sitting in a parking lot because I understand that there's a problem with the trailer hitch or something. And then Mr. Gordy has requested the amount of money through Public Information Act request as to how much money it's going to cost the taxpayers to, or how much it has cost us to keep that place mowed down. And it's looked like the devil for a while, folks. I mean, you had, I walked out in that field one time about a year ago, and the grass was up to my chest and growing higher. So they went out there and cleaned it up once. And I've heard, this is rumor, and I'm not a rumor monger, but I heard that Del Mar paid $54,000 once to have that place just had the grass cut. Okay, that's insane, folks. Okay, and you people have that bond you're staring you in the face for $139 million for phase number 1. So I assume that the phase 2 and 3 would be comparable to that. So we're looking at a minimum of about a little over $400 million to put a campus out there for 20,000 students when we can't muster more than 12,000 on East and West and Northwest Center. Anyway, I'm not much of a mathematician, but I did have all the algebra and trig and geometry, solid geometry and so forth in high school. Went to Greece for my last 2 years, and I took a year and a half of calculus there and at a British run school. So I think I know a little bit about it, and I've had graduate courses in statistics and undergraduate courses in differential equations and so forth. So, but I don't understand Del Mar College math. You've got 10,800 students, and then you preach that you have 50,133 enrollments. Okay? So that's why we need that campus out there for 20,000 students, is because we have 50,133 enrollments. And I understand that somebody over there in the public relations got a little concerned that somebody went to the newspaper and said that, hey, Del Mar College is getting a raise and it's not enough for the faculty and staff. So, get mad over there, folks. I don't care. If you're that sensitive and that unsympathetic, it doesn't, people at that level, PR and the other administrators over there at Del Mar College are making pretty damn good livings, and they've had raises over the years. And the way they give you a raise is they give you a promotion and rank. You get from a director to a vice president, and then you get from an assistant director to director, and then you got directors in charge of directors and deans and all kinds of mess over there. So with this massive administrative bloat that's been going on over there for the last 8 years, then that's what you get when you hire a president that's got his degree in community college administration. He's going to build an administration, okay? You can guarantee that. I just as soon have an academic president, to tell you the truth. I'm getting real weary of this. And then I've got people that are on a witch hunt for me. I'll discuss that when it's over with. I don't want to say any more about it, but it ain't the first time. Okay? But this time around, like I say, the computer systems failed during registration, and it's embarrassing to me to have a bunch of students sitting around twiddling their thumbs, and all I could say is hurry up and wait. That seems to be the new buzzword here at Del Mar College. And then we've got the latest Foghorn. That's the newspaper for the college over there. They've got a rendering of the Southside campus. It's got a great big huge river, beautiful river, and the rendering flowing, ambling down from behind that proposed campus. And anyway, that's a drainage ditch, folks. I went out there, and I think I showed you that on the last show. If I didn't, it'll be on the South Texas News and Reviews, which if you're watching this Wednesday at 8:30 at 9 o'clock, I'll show you that. But there's no river back there, folks. It's just a bunch of small puddles in the middle of a weed-choked ditch back there, a very wide ditch, and it drains water down to Oso Bay, and or Oso Creek. It's a floodplain over there. Okay, so we'll see what goes on. And then, like I say, you've got Board of Regents candidates are in this one again. Susan Hutchison is incumbent. She's running. We've got incumbent. She's running District 2. District 5 is Mr. Jim Boggs is the incumbent, and then Mr. Ed Bennett is going to be running against him. And then at large, we've got Mr. Trey McCampbell. He is the current president, and then we've got Dr. Laurie Turner that's running against him. So I mentioned a little bit more than that on the South Texas News and Reviews. And then it says mold leads to partial closure of White Library. One more time, the mold problems over there and people choking and eyes burning and stuff doesn't mean a whole lot to any administrator at Del Mar College. I had a student that came to me, it's been almost a year ago, I guess, when I did the work. Maybe it's been 6 months. I have a good time over there, and time flies when I'm having such a wonderful time at Del Mar. And I do, folks. I love my students. Don't get me wrong. But what happened was I had a student that came and said, hey, have you been to the third floor of the library lately? And I said, no. And that's where all the books are racked up, and the majority of them. And they've got some study space up there, so the students can roam around, take a book off the shelf, and do their studies and their work and so forth. Well, I went over there. They said that the vinyl wall covering was peeling back. And I said, what? And they said, yeah, it's real black back there. And, you've mentioned mold and that toxic mold when you see it. And I said, yes, that was toxic molds and studies with isolating those toxins and identifying the critters, especially in food and feed stuff, and then in air samples and so forth, is what provided me with the tuition and books and stuff to get through graduate school. I think I had enough money on that fellowship, research assistantship, to buy at least two hot dogs a month to eat. Times were tough. but I made it through. But anyway, so I went over and looked at it, and I said, oh my God, this is terrible. I took some samples and examined those with a microscope. I have had graduate courses in the identification of microorganisms, two of which were the identification of molds, commonly known in the research business as fungi. Okay, some of the most potent toxins known to man and beast are produced by fungal systems that grow on food and feed stuff and on the walls and blow spores into the air. And there's one that's real dangerous that was the, quote, black mold for years here at Corpus Christi. And I identified that as being one of the components, and it is very dangerous stuff. So after I took a look at the samples, and then I have grown them out and confirmed what I had seen microscopically. And I went over that afternoon, actually it was that morning that I discovered that, talked to the President's secretary. He wasn't in. He did graciously, I think, probably scared him to death. I jumped all over that, went over there and got somebody that was licensed to clean it up. Now, I don't know how good a job they did or what kind of testing they did. I know I was an expert with it for a long time, did a lot of studies from Florida down to Mexico along the Gulf, particularly in Corpus Christi, Texas. I sampled at least 400 structures there, houses and buildings and so forth during that heyday because of my background and expertise in that particular area. But I haven't had a thank you or kiss my patootie yet from Del Mar College. I just kept my mouth shut after I said, you got a massive problem over there and somebody's probably going to get sued unless you get off your butts and go over there and do something about it. And they have, apparently. Okay, so if you have over there, Del Mar, then more power to you. And I don't need I don't need a thank you. But I find it strange that, in the past you told me I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And just to go, suck a raw egg over there and be quiet. And then with all the money we spent on advertising to have registration fall flat on its butt, that just galls me to death. And I did read this on the other. Here's a very expensive mail out that I got in the mail on registration for fall 26, just as a resident of Corpus Christi. And then it says express registration East and West Campus on August 23rd, 7:30 to 8:15 or to 8 p.m. And the computers were down; nobody could really register then. Then the next day, Tuesday, August 24th, from 7 a.m. until 6:30 p.m., the computers were slower than Christmas. They did get some people registered during that time. And then they had one on Saturday, August 27th, from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m., and the computers were down, so we just shut it down about 2 o'clock, and everybody went home. And it's a big waste of time. And then another thing that disturbs me, we're counting high school students in that 10,800 bodies, which equates, according to Del Mar College PR people, to 50,133 enrollments. That sounds a little bit more significant, doesn't it, than 10,800 students? Okay. But anyway, you can go dual credit program if you're a high schooler for $99.99 per 3-hour course, not per hour, but per 3-hour course, and that undercuts the crap out of the regular students. And then of course we had the I Dream at the bottom page of one of the caller times. I think that was on the 23rd. That's the day that the early or that express registration came out, and that's not an insignificant cost either, folks, to have the caller times ads in. That's why they love it so over there. And then I've got some emails from DataTel over there. About DataTel from the IT people, informational technology. Somebody wrote DMC math, and this is how you calculate and get 50,133 out of 10,800. And then here was a banner that was there on the 3rd floor when they closed that off because of the mold. That was a good deal. And then I have an article here where somebody at Channel 6, I think it was Rick Sproul, who's an investigative reporter, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best in the country. And he keeps things abreast and lets you taxpayers out there know what's going on. He mentioned the 50,133 total enrollments in the 2014-2015 calendar years. You can dispute that. Here's the one that came out on the 31st about faculty salary work not over with the faculty council. Our faculty council is a representative of the faculty that goes to the administration. And what they did was they asked for a raise after 6, 7, 8 years of having the schools say that we don't have any money, we can't give any employees a raise. But then we're going to go ahead and take all that surplus money, $5 to $12,000 million at the end of about 6 or there was $5 million one year, $12 million the next, and $6 million, $10 million, and so forth. So over about 6 or 7 years, it was somewhere between each year. The surplus monies were anywhere from $5 to $12 million, and that's taxpayers' money because accounting-wise, Del Mar College should be zeroing it out. You shouldn't have excess money at the end and then you go out and buy acreage with it, 96 acres with part of it, and not let the voters vote on it. That's what galls me. And now they're going to put that bond up. So I hope you go whip that bond soundly like you did the Destination Bayfront. Same guy, Mr. Trey McCampbell was the ramrod of Destination Bayfront, and he's the president of the Del Mar College Board of Regents, and he's pushing that South Side campus for everything he's worth. And then there was an article from a gal from UT, University of Texas, Austin, Christine Williams, and she's a sociology professor, and she said college economics just don't add up. And it's a crime these days, folks, when students have to go out and get menial jobs just enough to make the rent, and then they're taking that time on their part-time jobs when they should be studying. And you keep voting these people in that keep cutting the contributions of the state to education. And, they blow the money on other things. So it's incredible. And then there's some controversy of old Joe Adami, former mayor, says that Del Mar can grow without a Southside campus. And then we've got Nick Jimenez, who's a columnist at Caller Times, saying need for campus not hard to see. Well, Mr. Jimenez, it's real hard for me to see it. Okay, and they keep pushing this site. And then I did mention a dispute over FEMA for flood maps. I'll get to the bottom of that for you. And I'm just paraphrasing something that happened before. My hat's off to 2 judges in particular, and a third one would be Sandra Watts, district judges, to help solve this problem of losing grant money with the county courts down here. And I think it was $140,000 grant that we lost this time. But there are 2 other judges that were very instrumental in helping out to cure that problem, and that's Judge Missy Mederi and Judge David Stith. And like I say, Sandra Watts is in the middle of that too, Judge Watts. So my hats off to them. I'm going to dedicate next show to the Chapman Ranch projects, the wind turbines and all out there, and to my total disgust with the code enforcement here in Corpus Christi, Texas. There's stuff all over the place. They pick on little old ladies and men that own property with high grass in their yards. They go down there and fine them $2,500 a piece. And if you really want a real horror show, go down and participate with the environmental court, and they're usually held on Fridays downtown. And that's enough to make you throw up. Anyway, I guess I better get off the air here and put the banner back up. I'm going to show you the banner for today, and I think you've seen enough of the No Del Mar College bonds on my t-shirt. Anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Like I say, I'll be right back. Okay, that's a small version of the banner. I was going to put it up there, but I wanted to go ahead and dedicate those 11 roses in the main vessel there to my deceased wife, Lynn. And then the 12th rose I've been dedicating to a very good friend of mine, April 23. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know. You can email me at gsansing@gmail.com. And then there are the times that the show airs, and I'm real easy to get a hold of if you need to make some comments or want me to mention something on the air if you are a frustrated taxpayer. Or if you're a proponent of the bond, let me know. I'll be glad to give your point of view. Anyway, talk to you later. Good night. Bye-bye.